I begin, as always, in the matchless, glorious, and precious name of the risen Savior Jesus Christ. As everybody knows, I'm in a different setting. That's because I finally got myself my own apartment. At last. At last. So it's only fair that I give you guys a nice long the journey from between my graduation to now. So yeah. After I graduated, as everyone knows, I graduated from Grace College on the 10th of May to 2014. And then after that, I went on searching like crazy for a job. I went on lots of interviews and I went everywhere and applied. And I did it with all sorts of yelling at and external lectures from my lectures in the process. But it was all, I didn't even land one till Saturday, till October at Family Dollar on the 6th, I think it was, at the Family Dollar there. And I kept on working there, and I worked there part-time, although I was looking for a full-time job too. And it was, till I lost that job in early July or August, because while I lost it officially in July, I was able to work at a different location for once every a month, in both in July, later in that July, and August. And then I worked as an intern at District of Columbia Superior Courts from October 5th to October 5th, 2015 to May 31st, 2016. Then I went back to working searching like crazy for a job. And to almost seemingly like no avail. Though at some points I worked for 3 days under a temp agency. But I thought that was going to be the end of the search, but then it wasn't. Then I went looking for a job in September, and then October I got interviewed at Old Navy, at Old Navy, to no avail, and then I landed a temp job and I worked there twice a week, 2 days to 3 days a week for the first 2 weeks, and then the last one day, I think it was the third week, and for the full week I worked all 5 days. And then November, December, I went looking, and it didn't go very well. And then in January 2017, I sort of did some work for University of Maryland, College Park. Something like that didn't do well, but after some poor choices, my mom challenged me to go search for a job. After a little bit of reluctance, I looked hard. And then I finally landed a job at the J. Crew, and I kept on working there till August, from April 4th. I think early April to early August. Then on the 12th, I moved up to Baltimore, and then we kept on working. And this was after I started doing work looking for a job at Amazon, starting work at Amazon. Then after a while that was going on, I worked for 1 day at a warehouse department. That didn't work out that well. And I also worked on behalf of a hotel temp agency. On behalf of a temp agency. And that only lasted from on the final day of, I think it was the final day of September that year, to the first week of October. That didn't work either. And then I landed a job at Amazon. And I started working there on the 17th, and it didn't. That only lasted until the 13th of January, 2018. And then on that point, I went looking crazy for a job. I started looking for Maryland New Direction, working Maryland. I started to take some classes in Maryland New Direction, and I also went to and I also went every Wednesday for something for a job hunt at Mondawmin Mall. By the way, Maryland New Direction is not far from where I am. It is not very far from where I am. It's great stuff. And anyways, I went looking as crazy, and then I started, I think in May, it was in May, I was looking for I found a job, I worked for 2 days at a temp agency, and that did not work out well because I did not have the skills needed for that one. And I started working at another one at the police station. Went from Monday to Tuesday the next week, and that did not work out either. By the way, I landed a job at Weis Markets on the 13th in November, and it was in November, so yeah. And then I was like, kept on, and I landed a internship at Humanum, and and I worked there for as an administrative assistant, and I kept on working there. More like something of an internship, working at Humanum. I wound up being a student at Humanum, learning how to be a great administrative assistant, and it went from September to November 2nd. That was great stuff. I learned a lot about being an intern there. Secondly, and that was good. And that was like, then I went back to looking for jobs, and that was almost it's a tough endeavor. It was a tough endeavor. It was almost like back to looking, after that little repeat, it just went back to normal. It was like on the final week, of course, I was getting stuff ready for temp agency. A temp agency wanted to come and see me, and I was coming up on the final week of that 2018. I was like, I just feel like I heard a voice wondering how long it's gonna go. And I felt like God was telling me, "Don't worry, Jabari. This is next year things will be a whole lot different, and things will never be the same again. It'll be the start of things becoming different for you." And indeed, that was the case. In 2019, I got my first job. Invited to come work at I was invited to come work at the bookstore at Morgan University, but that unfortunately didn't work out. Some foolishness on my part. Then I was given I started working for 3 days at, I think it was Cone Resnick, but that didn't work because I didn't have the skills for that. Then I worked at a corrections center for Baltimore County, but that ended for some reason, I don't know. Then it happened for real when I landed a job at the Department of Social Services in Towson. It was something like data entry, I think it was, or as a clerk. It was great stuff. It was started on February 14th. and I worked there, and I kept on working there till the 19th of April 19th. I don't really specifically know the reasons why I was kicked off, why I was fired from it, but still. Then in May, after over a month searching in May, in June, I landed a job as admin assistant at University of Maryland. One of the ladies there had to leave, and I was picked to be the substitute. It's great stuff, very good stuff. So yeah. Yeah. Yep, it was there. I worked there from the 17th of June to the 19th of July. Good stuff. And then after almost a month of searching, on the final week of August, I was working at Towson University at the bookstore there. And then I got let off for some reason. I don't know. Because I didn't do what I should have, but still. Then after October working in October, and then I got into then I started working for 4 days. I started working at NAACP as a data entry on behalf of Robert Half for 4 days. In 1 week and 2 days, and the next one because I got let off after that one because I made some personal mistakes. Then, after that one, I landed a job at 14 West, a financial place, for 3 days, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. I think it was the same temp agency, I'm not sure. And I let off for some reason. Then, after that, I landed a job at the MTN 5 for Amazon. And that began in November. I think it was late November, And it went on till February 1st, 2020. So yeah, after that, I was looking like crazy for a job. I was looking like crazy for a job everywhere. And I was trying to look for some gyms to work at, but they started to turn me down. And it's a good thing too, because the pandemic, COVID, that shut down all those gyms. And if I had gotten one there, I would have been kicked out shortly afterwards. Then, fortunately, one of those jobs that I applied for was one at Amazon, BWI 5. When talking about produce, working at the produce section, dealing with produce products, things like that. And that was a good thing. I was provided, but that was a godsend because that was my thing. That was one that could keep me throughout the whole pandemic. It kept me throughout the whole pandemic, and I would not be kicked out. It was great stuff. God provided for me there, and I worked and I stayed there from March 5th to it was June 4th. That was great. Yeah. As for that, then in 2021, I was searching. I was on 2021. In 2021, me and my mom had set out a job to something we saw on usajobs.gov. And then on February the 19th, I saw a job, an advertisement for General Clerk 2 at ServiceSource for $16.24. That felt like the jackpot for me. It was the jackpot. And I applied. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a little too good to be true. But then I was getting calls for my disability disorder, about my disabilities and whatnot. And then what type of things disabilities and what type of medicine I took, things like that. And then I got interviewed in April. And then in May, I was told that I was hired. That was great stuff. So I started working after resigning from Amazon on the 4th. I went in on the 7th. I started working there on the 7th. And then it was great stuff. And of course, I was hoping, it was annoying having to take Uber from the bus stop to the workplace, and from my workplace to the bus stop when the workday ended. That was some very annoying stuff. Fortunately, the Lord provided me earlier this year a job, a general clerk position at CMS, at another location where I wouldn't have to use Uber. That was good stuff. And I praise God for that. Then the Lord provided me with 2 part-time jobs, work from home jobs, and then He provided, which I started working in March, and then the Lord just provided me with and now, as we all know, after that I quit White shortly after, and then I was provided with, the next month I started looking for apartments, and then I was provided with this apartment. I found this apartment, applied, was accepted the day after resurrection, on the 18th, I think it was, and then on the 20th, I was supposed to come in on the 14th, but due to a horrible choice on my part, not a horrible choice. I was supposed to go in on the 14th, but then they had to do some renovating. But fortunately, on the 21st, I finally moved in. 8 years of looking. This is a long overdue moment, but I finally got here. So a lot of takeaways. Takeaway number 1. There's a likelihood that I would have been out of my mom's house and have my own place much earlier if my grades were up, both in high school and college. So people, stay on top of your grades. Stay on top of in both high school and college. Stay on top of them, be responsible, so that way you will not have to go through what I did. 2, God is faithful. The Lord is faithful. He's been faithful to provide for me and faithful to provide for me and faithful to keep me. He will faithfully provide, and I haven't been completely without money during this time. God's been faithfully providing for me and faithfully holding on, keeping me throughout this time. Yep. Don't trust in Him, because He's faithful to provide for you. He's faithful. 3rd, God is provident. God is sovereign. He holds everything. He holds all the jobs. He holds everything, and He will send it to you in the right time, right? What you need. Because He will send it to you at the right time. Because I've had a lot of things that could be described as nothing else but a godsend. Nothing else but a godsend when looking for a job and when get my journey to getting my own place. Yeah, it's great stuff. Anyways, I'm just trying to stay in this apartment and not have to return and stay at my mom's house and things like that. It's been great stuff. It's good to finally have my own place. God is sovereign. He's great. Anyways, that's all. Anyways, just wanted to come and tell everybody how this what this life has been like, how I got to this point, how God's been great to me. All right. Thank you. All right. That's all for this video.